Good evening, everyone. How is everyone doing tonight? Welcome, everyone. How's it going to the first ever Bad Rolls Good Times stream? Thank you all very much for joining us tonight. How's everyone doing?
Outstanding. Excited to be here.
Good.
Fantastico.
Black Skull, I have to adjust your webcam here very quickly. There we go. Cool. Now we can see you. All right. Thanks, everyone, for being here. So for those joining us to stream, this is our very first trip into Icewind Dale with this group. We've all been playing Dungeons & Dragons together for about 9-10 months now, I think. Something like that. And so then we decided that we got done with one campaign, and now we're going to get started into another one. But before we do that, let me introduce every one of these people to you. First up in the upper corner here, we have Goliath CB playing Akuma, the Tiefling Sorcerer. Next up, we have someone you all know if you're from the Eternal community. We have Jedi EJ playing I'm going to butcher the name. Zamite. Sorry.
That's good to go. I like the fact that everyone has a different pronunciation for it.
Zymote, the human fighter, the Echo Knight. Below Zymote, we have the Force from the North, Gigroth, the Goliath Barbarian, played by Black Skull 201.
Howdy.
Ready to smash tonight?
Gigroth smash.
That's right. All right, and then finally, last but not least, we have Kamikaze Goomba playing Cyrus, the Elf Bard.
What's up, everybody?
So for those of you who do not know, the structure of tonight is going to be a little bit different than how my normal streams worked. During the actual sessions, unfortunately, I won't be able to interact with chat, at all. But don't fret. After our play session, we're going to have a little bit of chit-chat afterwards, so you guys can have a chance to kind of talk with the group, talk with me, ask questions, whatever you guys want to do at the end of the session. We're going to play for about 2.5 hours with a break in there, and then we'll be able to chat with the chat. So just sit back, kick back, grab a drink. Hopefully you guys enjoy the show. All right. Anyone have anything? We're going to get this show on the road.
Let's get started.
Let's get her done.
Good to go.
All right. So I'll give you guys, we're going to open up with this. Icewind Dale, which is where our tale takes place, has become trapped in perpetual winter. Ferocious blizzards make the mountain pass through the spine of the world exceedingly treacherous, and this land has not felt the warmth of the sun in over 2 years. In fact, the sun no longer appears above the mountains, not even what would be the height of summer. In this frozen tundra, darkness and bitter cold reign as king and queen. Most Dale residents blame Oriel the Frostmaiden, the god of winter's wrath. The shimmering aura that weaves across the sky each night is said to be her doing, a potent spell that keeps the sun at bay. The Dales folk live in a scattering of settlements known as 10 towns. The drop-off and caravans coming from the south and travel between the settlements in this never-ending winter has kind of left everyone feeling isolated. But that's not where our tale starts. Our tale starts in a little town of Phandalin. Phandalin is it's a town just off of the high road along the Sword Coast. A little mining town. It's been kind of where people kind of pass through in their travels, but it's not without its own mining industry, as well as the home of a company known as Iron Will, which is a franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated. Now, this franchise has been gaining some popularity with their exploits in all over Faerun, gathering up pieces of an artifact known as the Orrery of the Wanderer, and their fame is kind of spread throughout Faerun. And that is where, Zymote, you find yourself in Phandalin at the front door of this franchise, or this place known as Iron Will, a franchise of Acquisitions Incorporated. So this building in front of you is very large, one story. There's a flat roof on top, and atop of the roof sits this large blimp. It's like a battle balloon. There's this very huge balloon that on one side has the logo of Acquisitions Incorporated, which is a giant A, and the crossbar of the A creates the top crossbar of an I. And then on the other side is the logo of Iron Will. Also on the roof, there are 3 towers, 3 big metal towers, with a small tower in the center of them, and there is this purple energy that is arcing between the towers and this middle tower. And as you look up at this, you can see that arcing energy between the two, and you notice an arc jump from the center tower right towards you. I'm going to start you off. I need a dexterity saving throw.
All right. Let's do this. All right. Not a bad start. 10.
Okay. All right. So you are able to, as this force energy comes blasting at you, you are able to jump right out of the way before it hits you. And as you jump out of the way, you can hear a tiny voice in the background yelling, "Fire in the hole!" And this blast comes boom right at you. You're able to jump out of the way, and a large cloud of dust and dirt is left where you stand.
Do I get the impression that if I run towards the building, I can get underneath this thing's range? Like it can't traverse that low? Do I get that kind of impression, or am I just kind of a sitting duck out here?
No. With your dexterity saving throw, you are able to get out of the way in whatever means you wish to do so.
All right. I would like to bolt for the door, and while yelling, "I'm a friend. I am but a friend. Here seeking business. No other means. I swear."
And no sooner than you get up to the front door, it opens. And a gentleman in a brown cloak with a very pointy nose and pointy chin, kind of long, slick black hair, and he's holding a cat. And this cat is wearing a Viking helmet and has an eye patch as well. And he exits the door, and you can hear him say, he says, "Gorko Patsky, you'll have to excuse them. They are defensive measures, if you will. They're playing with their new cannon toy. I'm sorry. Who are you, and may I help you?"
As I begin to brush the dust that came across and the ash from that bolt that almost blasted me, you must definitely have a talk with them and set some possible parameters, because I'm simply here inquiring. You are looking for contract work, and I seem interested. I'm a coin blade, and I wanted to see what was going on, and I almost got blasted before I even got paid.
Zymet Shatterskull, I presume?
Aye, that is I.
Yes, we've been expecting you. If you would please follow me, the others are waiting.
Wait, you were expecting me? And almost shot me?
Our Secretary of Defenses are not exactly the most intelligent group of people. I assure you they meant no harm, and we will be dealing with them later.
Very well. Maybe this will be reflected when we negotiate a expense report?
You'll have to take that up with the rest of the team. Please, follow me.
Lead the way, good sir.
All right. And this man, he says, "My name is Flabbergast. I will be introducing you to the rest of the team of Iron Will. We are looking for contract work. They will have all of the details." And he leads you in, and the first door you go into is this giant gift shop. And there are all sorts of used weapons, armors, potions. Many of them have the symbol of Acquisitions Incorporated branded onto them. But he leads you past all of that through a door in the back, and you'll go down. You go down a flight of stairs and around, and come to a room where directly in front of you is a desk with 4 individuals sitting behind that desk. You can see a short gnome with a big pointy wizard hat. You can see a halfling with kind of leathers on, holding a shield. You can see a bird creature with a hood up, sitting behind the desk, and then a very heavily armored human all sitting behind this desk. And behind this desk there is a cistern, almost like a small waterfall, behind them with running and flowing water. There is on opposite sides of this waterfall, there is a cage with a parrot sitting in it. There is on the other side, there is a spider web with written with the letters of the spider web. It says, free water, help yourself. And there is a picture frame on this table that is in the shape of a heart with a lizard, with the image of a lizard within that picture frame. And the picture frame is kind of glowing, a pink and orange color. And in letters, a minor illusion says, "Rest in peace, Sebastian," on it. The human says, he beckons you. He says, "Now, would you please come here and we've been expecting you, Zymet. If you could please sit down here, and we could by chance maybe have some a talk with you regarding some work."
Of course, I understand. Time is money, my friends. It would be my honor.
Absolutely. So, the reason why we brought you in here is because we were by chance perhaps wanting to expand our operation. And we're looking to expand up north, into Icewind Dale. Are you familiar with the location?
I must admit, I am aware of it only through name alone. I have never been there myself, being from a more tropical climate. But being a coin blade, I've traveled many places, and I consider this no different.
The bird with their cloak pulls his cloak back down, and you can see what looks like the large head of a raven. And he says, very cold up there. Like fucking cold. And the halfling speaks up and says, "You see, Will, we were hoping maybe that we could get some eyes on the ground there. We're looking for other business opportunities. Maybe some resources to harvest to resell, adventuring opportunities. We feel that is a very untapped market up there. And we're hoping that you could maybe scout it out for us. We understand that you have a certain set of skills that you come very highly recommended."
I have got wind through rumors that many of the caravans have stopped shipping up there to Icewind Dale. What interest do you have there to not take the caution of other companies? Oh, shoot, I just changed my accent. Gosh darn it, Nick.
It's all right. It's all good.
Go ahead.
Well, you see, that's what we want to know. That's what we want to find out. And we were hoping that you could find that out for us. We're willing to offer you an extended agreement, partnership, if you will, with Iron Will for the time being.
I'm not really prepared to hang up my coin blade just yet. So I think just a straight payment, the usual expenses up front, with the majority of the cash on the back end, should be suffice.
You can see the gnome pull out a sack, and he starts rifling through papers in this little knapsack. And he pulls one out, and he slides it across from you. He says, "Look, we're not. We unfortunately, as we beckon to our head office, and there are certain rules that we have to follow. So unfortunately, the best that we can offer is some traveling fees. We can get you situated with some gear up there, and we'll pay for some expenses up front. But it doesn't really make business sense for us unless we know for certain that we are willing to expand up there. I'll tell you what we can offer. We can offer you 50 gold up front, and you can take that and you leave and we never hear from you again, and that's up to you. Or you sign this contract, and he pushes it over in front of you. We expect a full report every 30 days on possible business opportunities, acquisitions opportunities. And at the end of your scouting period, we bring you on as a 5th partner in our Iron Will franchise. As a sellsword yourself, I'm sure you'll be able to find constant work up there while you're also doing work for us.
Seeing how I'm going to be leading this expedition and potentially being head of operations there, I want at least 30% of the profit from anything coming out of Icewind Dale.
The team all kind of looks at each other. It gives you a nod. The gnome pulls it back. He pulls out a wand. He kind of waves things around, and the words on the paper change to reflect the new contract, the new negotiations. And he says, I think we can do that. And he slides the contract over to you, along with a quill.
Then you, my friends, have hired Zarmut Shatterskull at your service. And I'll go ahead and sign.
All right. He takes that and he rolls it up and files it away. And then the gnome pulls out another sheet of paper and he says, this is how you can contact us. Take this paper. Anything you write on that will be automatically transferred to our office. We expect a full report every 30 days.
I must warn you, I am not very familiar or fluent in the ways of arcane. Would that pose a problem for this form of communication?
No, it will not.
Very well. How fragile is this paper? Say I get trapped in a snowstorm, will it survive?
And he produces a tube with a stopper on it. And he says, this should hold up in any given weather.
Excellent. You have accounted for everything. So simply hand me the expense fees for travel. Let me know exactly when I'll be leaving, and I'll be on my way, gentlemen.
And the little gnome says, Crawler, if you'll get our friend situated, and we can get him right on his way. Yes, I will. And you see this the Birdman kind of stand up, flutter his wings a little bit, and beckons you to follow him. And he takes you to an area where he pulls out a
before we leave the room, I'll gesture over to the fountain, that the free water fountain, and be like, I don't mean to impose, but my canteens are a little low. Do you mind?
Oh, no. And this is the human speaks up and says, I would not drink that water if I were you. Our spider likes playing a few tricks on people. You'll get a bad case of ghoul gut, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that almost reminds me of a contract I was in Luskin. Two of our men, actually, barbarians, dwarven, they could drink anything. They came across a certain port that proved to get the better of them. Needless to say, they were not able to complete the contract. Very, very sad. Well, actually, there might be some application nonetheless. Do you mind if I still consider using it? But I will heed your warning.
By all means, have at it.
All right, I'd like to go ahead and fill up 2 canteens of ghoul gut.
Yeah, absolutely. Some tainted water that when drank there will be some explosive effects.
And then, real quick, what exactly is the parchment that they gave me so I can add that to D&D Beyond?
So I don't know if there's a specific name for it, but essentially whatever it does, whatever you write on it will magically disappear and appear on a counter parchment at the Iron Will office. So whatever you write on there, this is your way of communicating with them.
Okay.
So every
All
30
right.
days, you'll be required to make a report and about the surroundings, what's going on at Icewind Dale, and make contact with Iron Will. So the Birdman, he stands up, he flutters his wings a little bit, and he takes you over to a closet, and he pulls out this really big fur jacket, and he hands it over to you. He then takes you back upstairs to the showroom, to the merchandise room, finds a pair of snowshoes and a pair of crampons, which are used for like walking on ice, making sure that you don't slip, and hands them over to you as well. And then pulls out a small, tiny pouch, opens it up, empties it out into his claw. There's 50 gold there, or what's worth 50 gold, puts it back in and hands it over to you. And you can be on your way.
All right. Am I traveling through normal means or am I taking the battle balloon?
You'll be traveling through normal means, so whether
Okay.
it's you're hiking it on foot or you're catching a carriage, however you would like. Fast
All right.
forward, probably about 6 days, 5 to 6 days, you have made it to Luskin, which would be the final major city before you get to the spine of the world and cross the mountain range into Icewind Dale. There, you, for the night or in your travels, decide to stop at a place known as the Fishbone Tavern. At the Fishbone Tavern, it's a very, very busy place. There is a large, hulking man out front as the bouncer, and then a woman inside as the bartender. And there are all sorts of people around. There's some dwarves. A lot of people are wearing like fisherman gear. Some of them even look like they might have some like pirate like gear. You see scimitars on some individuals, and there is a tiefling up at the bar as well. With Akuma, if you would like to describe your character and what Zymat sees.
You see a pair of deer antlers sticking up fairly high over the bar. I'm just wearing a standard jacket and some brown pants and my leather boots, and I have a beer in my hand.
I vaguely remember Akuma from previous contracts I've had where I've had to use his ship through means of travel. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to pull up a chair next to him. I'll walk up to him. Greetings, my friend.
Good evening.
I don't know if you remember me. It means Zymat Shatterskull. We worked together a couple of times, probably 4 months ago now. All
Yeah.
things considered.
Yeah, you had passage on Captain Barron's ship.
Aye, that's the one. I could not remember the captain's name, but I do remember the ship.
Yeah, what brings you back to Luskin?
I am working yet again. Business, I am afraid. I am traveling up north to Icewind Dale. So I'm simply passing through here, resting the night before heading out in the morning.
It's the nature of your business.
To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not quite sure. I am essentially the first boots on the ground, if you will, to explore why so many caravans have chosen not to travel and trade in the Icewind Dale. A company has hired me to investigate and send them back information, if you will.
Sounds like a lot of ground for one man to cover.
Well, I'm good at what I do. What can I say? And I'm worth every penny.
So they're paying you well.
If I survive.
Oh.
And I will lean to the barkeep, and order a brew as well.
Okay. Barkeep says, yeah, absolutely. Here, how about one of our famous Luskin ice meads?
Forgive me, do you have anything that might be potentially room temperature? I'm afraid I might be dealing with more than enough cold coming soon.
Sure, I think we have something. And she goes over. It's just something we got in from Phandalin, actually. It's called Welver's Well, and she goes over and grabs 2 mugs, puts it under the taps, and it's like this dark black viscous drink, not quite sludge level, but almost. Pours into the mugs. There's barely no head at all. And after they're done filling up, she comes and stands and she says, "Hey, these here are on the house. You know, this hasn't been a very popular one. If you like it, spread the word that we've got it here."
I should do exactly that. What do I owe you?
Like I said, on the house.
All right, I will slip her 2 copper pieces. Or
Okay.
I'm sorry, 2 silver pieces.
All right. So she takes that. The front door of this opens, and in walks a larger human with some like sailing gear on. You can see that they have some weaponry around them, some light armor on them. And he says, "Akuma, come on, we got to get going. Boat's ready. It's time to start work for today. I thought I'd find you here."
I thought we weren't leaving until the morning.
"Oh, change of plans. We got to get going. I need you out there."
Well, it was good seeing you again. Safe travels, friend. And I'll tip my drink to him.
You as well, Zymat. And I'm just gonna leave my drink on the table.
Okay. And so are you going to leave the bar with
Yeah,
with them?
I'm gonna get up to go, and before I go, I'm gonna turn around and I'm gonna slam the drink.
All right. So as you slam the drink, Captain Barron says to you, "We can't. Or have you been drinking all day today?"
Yes, Captain.
As good of a navigator as you are, I cannot have you on this job in the state that you are in. I'm afraid, Akuma, that you're fired.
Darn.
You don't sound too upset about this.
I suppose it's been a long time coming. That's probably why I was here drinking.
Well, if that's the way it's going to be. And he just puts his head down, turns around and sulks, and walks out the bar.
That was probably a bad decision.
Slams the door on the way out. Kind of to where the point that it gets the attention of many of the other people in the bar, and they all kind of glance at you to check out what your reaction would be.
And I'm going to use my cantrip thaumaturgy to open the door back up, and I'll use another instance of thaumaturgy to make my voice booming and yell at the captain, "Keep your damn fish!" And then I'll use thaumaturgy a third time to slam the door behind him.
All right. Yeah, you have the entire bar's attention for about 10 seconds. And after the super awkward silence, everyone kind of naturally goes back to what's been going back to what they've been doing.
Well then, that seemed to be a lot more eventful than I was anticipating this evening.
I'm sorry you had to see that.
No. The life of a sellsword. Arguments like that are the least of my concerns, to be honest with you.
Work hasn't been that great. I haven't been getting along with the crew. They call me a demon and poke fun at me behind closed doors. Nobody wants to deal with me. So it is what it is, but it makes life on the boat rough.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. And I'll kind of gesture my drink up to his antlers. Right? They're antlers or just straight horns?
Antlers.
Yeah. They're quite extravagant. They got attention. I think it was more out of jealousy than anything else.
I'm sure if you ask them, that's what it was.
Trust me, I've seen it plenty of times. I remember a contract out of deep, water deep, where it was exactly that. The crew was extremely jealous of their gunner, no doubt. It was a fantastic shot with the cannons, but he was just as good with the ladies. And eventually one day they tied a cannonball to him and threw him overboard. Very, very sad.
Poor guy. Well, at least I didn't get thrown overboard. I just got thrown out. Well, I say, do you need another one of those drinks?
DM, how am I doing with this Welver's brew?
You're holding up fine for now.
Nope. I want to make sure I'm in tip-top shape. We should be traveling fairly early in the morning. I don't want to have too long of a night. But I'll tell you what, friend. You seem to be in lack of employment. Would you care to travel up north with me?
It sounds like you could use some local insight. And I'm not really doing anything else. Yeah, I can come along.
Very well then. I must say that I cannot promise you your safety, but you will have me at your back through and through. And I'll extend out my hand.
And I will shake it.
Cool. All right. So Akuma and Zaimat join forces, join up, and make their way up north into Icewind Dale. It's definitely a fairly long trip. And that is now where we find ourselves. We in the town of Bryn Shander, which is one of the 10 towns in Icewind Dale. It's definitely the largest of the 10 towns. There is a wall around the entire place, and we find ourselves at the Northlook Inn and Tavern. And it is definitely a rowdy place. There's all sorts of different demographic of individuals, all sorts of different races, elves, dwarves, tieflings, gnomes, just a complete array of different races as people have made their way to Icewind Dale. The nights are very, very long in Icewind Dale. There's almost no time when there is full daylight. So the work days are very, very short. And where everyone finds themselves after those work days is the Northlook Inn and Tavern here. As you take in this scene, through the door busts open, and in walks this giant hulking figure with several, about 4 or 5 rabbits strung up on a stringer from hunting. And as soon as this giant Goliath walks through the door, the entire tavern goes dead silent. And there is this look at the doorway. And after about 3 seconds, the entire tavern erupts. Gigroth! And everyone starts cheering as Gigroth makes his way into the tavern.
Hey, everybody, it's Gigroth.
All right. And someone approaches you. This half-orc figure with these tusks that are coming up from their bottom underbite. And he says, "Arm wrestle you for one of those hairs."
I doubt you can even fight me. I beat your mother the other day.
I'm gonna have your number this time, Gigroth. And he says,
My number. I've already got your mother's.
He says, "You put up one of them rabbits, I'll put up this." And he produces a lamp and sets it down on the table. And then he plops down in a chair and holds up his arm and says, "I'm waiting."
All right, Gigroth, with the full confidence of an 8-foot tall Goliath, sits down, and he'll raise the bet. He say, "I'll give you 2 hairs." Gigroth will put 2 hairs for a lamp and 20 gold. Or this guy probably in the tavern, and 1 gold.
He says, "You're on," and he pulls out a little coin purse, pulls out his gold piece, sets it down on the table, and he says, "Let's go."
Before we start arm wrestling, can I make an intimidation check?
Absolutely.
All right.
So what is that roll?
I am waiting to find out myself. Let me see if I can do this faster. That is a 20.
Oh yeah. So as he's sitting down waiting, how do you intimidate him?
I'll look straight into his eyes. I want him to make contact, and then as we grab each other's arms, I'm gonna squeeze the shit out of his hand.
All right. And he is thoroughly intimidated. So he says, "All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3." And now I need you to make this is going to be a contested strength check, but because your intimidation check, your intimidation intimidated him, you get to make yours with advantage.
Awesome.
I got a 14.
Here, 13 plus 2. That is 15.
15. All right, and that's your first roll.
Yes.
You get to make that with
I did it-
advantage. Now you did.
Oh no, I'm in D&D Beyond. I did 2 rolls. One was a 2, one was a 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you beat him. Your hand comes boom and slams his down, and he says, "Oh, my brother Jolly's gonna be real pissed. I lost this lamp for him. Well, you come back here tomorrow night, and I'll have your number tomorrow." So you won yourself. You won yourself a lamp that you get to add to your inventory, and an
Awesome.
extra gold.
Yes.
All right.
I love lamp.
Cyrus, you also happen to be at this tavern, kind of watching things unfold. You are looking around. You've been here for a while now, kind of taking things in. You're very familiar with Bryn Shander, so you've seen this whole exchange unfold with Gigroth. Is there anything that you would like to do?
Yeah, is this the first time that I've seen Gigaroth? Because you said I'm pretty familiar with this place. Like, is this just like business as usual?
This is pretty well business as usual. Every once in a while, Gigroth makes his way in and arm wrestles different patrons, betting his nightly hunt against gold and other things that he can acquire. Gigroth usually comes out on top, but he's a very, very friendly guy. Everyone in this bar seems to know him, so this is pretty well business as usual. There's plenty of other patrons in this bar. There is the proprietor, the bartender behind the counter. There's all sorts of people drinking and being merry here. There's a large, apparently stuffed fish, very, very large a knucklebone trout or knucklehead trout that is stuffed on the wall. That's over top of the fireplace in this building. And you're free to do whatever you would like here.
Okay. Well, I'm sipping on a. It's not a glass of wine. It's just like a typical tankard filled with wine because this type of place doesn't really have wine glasses available. So I'm just sipping on wine out of a tankard. And I'm certainly intrigued by the exchange with Gigaroth and the half-orc. And I think I will make my way over to Gigaroth and approach the table or booth or whatever he's sitting at and just say, that was quite the performance there, bud. How about I get you a drink?
Gigroth welcomes another drink.
And I sort of gesture to the bartender and I just like, a couple more over here.
Mm-hmm. They acknowledge you, and after a couple of minutes, they bring over like the mead that's typically on tap here, and sets down a drink in front of you.
Why, thank you. So, your name's Gigaroth, right?
Yes. Did you not hear everybody say Gigroth earlier?
I'm a little hard of hearing, I guess it's an elvish thing. My name is Cyrus, and this isn't the first time that I've seen you in here, but you've certainly piqued my interest. I guess I'm just a little bit fascinated. You're almost like a local like folk hero. So, where are you from?
Gigroth comes from the high mountains.
Really?
I used, yes,
Interesting.
I I left my tribe to search for adventure, and I started off here to make little coin.
How's that going for you? You know, picking up rabbits and whatnot.
It is slow, but Gigroth is a good hunter. But Gigroth seeks adventure.
Hmm. I have no doubt about you being a good hunter. But you mentioned that you're looking for coin. Perhaps we're not so different, you and I, because I'm also looking for coin. A little light on it these days.
Oh, does
One
little
question.
elf need coin? I let you borrow if you beat me
No,
in arm wrestling.
well, that is quite the offer, but I think I'd like to keep my arm attached to my body. Thank you very much.
Good choice.
But you and I both want coin, and I think I can maybe come up with something that we can both come out pretty. Let's just say with our pockets a lot heavier afterwards. Are you interested?
Gigroth is interested.
Excellent.
So at this
Well,
time, sorry, not to interrupt you, but at this time, in walks Akuma and Zymot. This is kind of you've learned that like this is the place where if you're looking for work, if you're looking for adventure, this is kind of like the very first stop Bryn Shander is. So you make your way and find yourself now at the Northlook Tavern. And again, you see the same scene. It's very, very open. There's all sorts of people here. Tons and tons of different individuals in this tavern and inn.
Zymot will walk in, and I'll try to brush like the snow off of my beard and stuff. It's starting to get some icicles, and kind of shrug and look over at Akuma and be like, "Well, shall we get situated here and see if we can potentially find where our next step is?"
And as I walk in and I notice the Goliath sitting in the room, I'm like, well, at least I won't stand out too much here.
And as you say that, Gigroth will point out that there's a person that just walked in with antlers.
So
It's like, what is that?
yeah, so Gigroth just stands up and is like, "Oh my gosh." Akuma's trying to like be real low, just trying to keep a low key as much as possible. And as soon as you walk in, holy shit, it's someone with antlers. It's great.
Can I hunt it?
You could, but maybe that's not exactly recommended. Look.
Okay.
Yeah, give her up.
Okay.
Why don't you sit back down? I've got an idea, but
Okay, Gigroth will.
I've got to ask. Would you say that you're what's to say morally good person?
Yes, Goliaths are naturally good. We do the right thing.
Damn it.
Why?
Well,
Is Elf
despite
trying to
that-
scheme?
Well, let's just say I had a plan in mind. You could say that maybe isn't so much good as it is a little gray, if that makes sense.
Gigroth does not know all colors yet.
We'll pick you up a color and look later, buddy.
Gigroth was like that.
What I'm suggesting here is you have a pretty big reputation for being the tough guy, right? This seems like the local tavern champion. Everyone loves you. Everyone like thinks you're the shit. I guarantee you, if say people were to bet on you in an arm wrestling match, like all bets would go to you, almost no question. And if say the other person were to win that arm wrestling match, that whoever made that bet would come out with a lot of coin. Do you get where I'm coming from?
Gigroth understand.
So let me get this straight. Cyrus wants Gigroth to like throw an arm wrestling match so you can bet on the other people and just like
Yeah.
take all of their money.
So
I love it.
Yes,
I love it too. Not as Gigroth, but as myself. I love it
Yeah,
too.
I was about to say Gigaroth probably doesn't like this, and this is where this goes horribly wrong for Cyrus, not being fully aware of this. All right, so what I'm basically saying, and I sort of like pull you in like a little bit close and kind of like whisper this because I don't want anybody else to hear you, right? I'm trying to keep this hush hush. So I'm like, all right. So basically, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna, welcome challengers, right, and everything, and I'll we'll set up bets and everything, and I'm gonna bet like everything I have on the other guy, and you're just gonna lose because everyone's gonna bet on you, right? Because you're the champ. So all you gotta do is just like throw the match, and you're golden. We're golden because I'm gonna get all that money, and then I'm gonna give you half of it.
Gigroth likes idea, but find more than one opponent. Opponent. Gigroth
Right.
wants a challenge.
Find more than one opponent. Okay.
But for the last opponent, make sure he looks strong. Gigroth can't lose to puny person like Elf.
You're certainly a charming man, Gigroth.
Thank you.
Akuma, this
I
hot chocolate
heavily
is
roll my
absolutely
eyes.
fantastic.
So I kind of look around the bar and I look for somebody. Who is the toughest looking individual in the bar besides Gigaroth?
Well, there's the half orc that he just beat. There are a few other dwarves that are like big and stocky. There are honestly the human and the tiefling that just walked in the bar are fairly decent sized as far as the individuals here go. There's a lot, like I would say the population in 10 towns is mostly dwarves. So mostly dwarves are going to be here, short but big in stature. Biggest individuals are definitely going to be humans, tieflings, other Goliaths, which there are none at this point. And the half orc.
So what I'm gonna do then is sort of like kind of like step up from the booth. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go drum up some customers, and I kind of like sort of like I stand up and sort of yell out to everyone in the tavern like, come one, come all. Gigaroth the Great is currently taking challengers for arm wrestling. I will certainly match any bet that you have. Come on, anybody?
Gigroth kind of pulls down at you, and lets you know that his tavern name, when it comes to arm wrestling, is the risk taker, like the wrist taker. So he takes risks.
The risk taker. I imagine it's kind of like a kid like pulling on like his parent's leg, like on their pant leg. It's much like that. I'm like, sorry. Let me rephrase that. Like, no, that's not what my name is. Okay, and and I was like, sorry, not Gigaroth the Great, Gigaroth the Risk Taker.
All right,
You've seen him before.
Make me a performance check to see if you can get the attention of anyone else here. And maybe some challengers will arise.
Oh my god, that was almost a 1. That's a 17.
A 17. Okay. Yeah, so there's a dwarf, a little stocky dwarf stands up. And then the half orc, both that fought Gigroth before, stand up. I'll fight him. Yeah, me too. And let's see here. And then there's like this buzz going around the tavern bar. Oh man, we got ourselves a good old fashioned, arm wrestling event going on here. And then other people are sort of like, I'll get in on this action. 2 gold on Gigroth for me. And so like everyone starts like kind of crowding around where you guys are sitting.
when this is all happening, I'm gonna like kind of throw an elbow at Zyma and over my coffee, and be like, "Hey, you gonna go get on that?"
Oh, no, my friend. I am merely for looks. I am more of a dancer type than brute strength. I like finesse. So, and truth be told, I was the worst fighter in my village. So, no, that literal Goliath of a man is more than welcome to take on the rest of the town. But I do say this though, potentially you think maybe the winner we can inquire for a potential guide here?
Well, apparently, since you're not a good fighter and you didn't tell me before we left, yeah, maybe.
I love his honesty though. He's just like, oh, I'm a shit fighter.
Outstanding. Yes, then it is salad. And I'll lean back in my chair and drink my brew.
All right. So the stocky dwarf comes down. He pulls a flask of oil out of his pouch and sets it down on the table and assumes the arm wrestling position. And all told, there's probably about 10 gold in bets for Gigroth, or in favor of Gigroth, from the peanut gallery, so to speak.
Okay.
All right.
10 gold in bets.
And you said I'm fighting up the dwarf first?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So this is what Gigroth's gonna do. To not belittle the dwarf, but to just overestimate himself so that I do lose. What he's gonna do is he's gonna say, Keeper, bring Gigroth 3 mugs. Or three ales or whatever beers, whatever the strongest thing you got.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he will chug the shit out of them.
Okay. All right. So first off, make me a Constitution saving throw, as you have consumed a fair amount of alcohol here.
Oh, great. All right. Yeah. All right. 15 plus 2, 17.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to withstand the effects of the alcohol. So
All right.
you are not drunk, but you did consume a fair amount of alcohol in a short amount of time. Cyrus,
So-
are you putting up 10 gold for the dwarf as everyone else is betting on Gigroth?
Probably should have thought about the logistics of this earlier. Yeah, I'll put on like 5 gold on the dwarf while everyone is putting on like bets. Or is it more like everyone's kind of like giving me like paying me like, the gold, sort of like I'm sort of like the general like bet guy. I don't know the term for that, where it's just like, and then I have to double their money if their guy wins.
Oh, yeah,
basically.
sure. So you're basically going to be the bookie.
Yeah, I'm the bookie. I collect like the 10 gold, and if Giroth wins, then obviously have to match, pay out their bets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of do it like that, and just sort of like collect the 10 gold.
All right. And so this is what I had in mind. Where I drink it, I act. Well, obviously, if I'm not drunk, but I'm buzzing hard. What my plan was to do is fight the orc and the dwarf at the same time. That way, it looks like I lost, but in reality, not really.
Oh, okay. So are you going to invite the orc then to get in on this too? You're like, yeah,
Yes,
I can take
was
both of
after
you
I
on.
chugged the 3, I'm like, I was like, all right, I want both of you same time right now.
I'm sort of just a little like, sort of reconsidering my choices thus far. Like as he's just sort of like kind of going off the handle with like our plan. Just like, yeah, I'm gonna take on both of them. Like this doesn't seem
This isn't
workable for me.
this
Like,
isn't
he
what we
just-
planned on.
But
like,
didn't you
okay.
say you wanted me to lose though?
Yeah, but like it's just like you're sort of just like going off and doing like your own thing. And I'm not saying anything. I'm just sort of like a little bit like
I love
this
I
guy's
love that
little-
like Gigroth has his own plan of how this hustle's going to work, and it's totally just fucking up everything Cyrus wants from this hustle. All right, and then so
Right.
the dwarf and the half orc kind of look at each other and give a shrug, And the half orc pulls up a chair, spins it around, sits on it backwards, and he puts his hand kind of matching where the dwarf's hand would be. So basically, the two of them are together and would come down in the same motion as you would be fighting against them. And there's some people from the peanut gallery who are like, can I retract my bet? I don't think Gigroth can do this.
And just as soon as I hear that, because even though I my comment earlier, I have very good elf hearing. I'm just assuming pointy ears. I'm just like, all bets are final.
Yep.
All right.
And
all right.
since the plan is to lose, do I still need to make like a roll because I'm planning to lose? Just make it look like it.
No, if you want to willingly fail a roll, you can do that. So yeah, you receive no other bets after the half orc joins in. All right. Yeah, so they sit down and all right, Gigroth, here we go. And then 3, 2, 1, and you willfully fail this roll.
Yeah, but not like not in a obvious manner. Like Gigroth is like, he makes it seem like he's drunk, and at the same time he's like, fuck, I shouldn't have drank all 3 beers.
Yep.
And he's like just slowly like a back and forth.
Mm-hmm. So that back and forth happens until finally your hand gets pinned down. And a bunch of the people standing around, oh man, oh, I lost my money, oh dang it, Gigroth, you let us down. And everyone is just like kind of bummed out that they lost collectively 10 gold. And at that moment, as everyone's kind of like returning to their seats, Cyrus, you're happily counting your new coin, the 10 gold that you just made here. And at that moment, the barkeep comes over to you two and gets down and whispers in each of your ear and points out, excuse me, but there is a individual back in a booth, and he points kind of in the back corner, and you can see this smaller, hunched over figure with a hood on, and says that individual back there would like to speak with you, and says this to each of you, Cyrus. Akuma and Zymot, you are also approached by the barkeep and given the same message that there's an individual back in a corner who would like to speak with you.
Before we move over there to the booth, Gigroth is going to give back the lamp to the orc as kind of like a reward for winning, but also because he said like, oh, my brother's gonna be pissed.
Okay.
It's the right thing to.
All right. And the orc says, really? I was not. That's very kind of you, Gigroth. He says, I will be happy to win this and more back later on.
Oh, don't count your eggs before they hatch.
And he kind of gets a big, nice, shit-eating grin on his face, and he goes back to sits down and enjoys his beer. So you've all been told to kind of meet with this person sitting in a booth in the corner by themselves.
So upon hearing that, I like to think that Cyrus is like a little taken aback hearing this, and he's a little like goes a little paler than he normally is, and I just kind of like look over at the guy in the booth who gestured at me and try to see if I recognize him.
Make a perception check. 18. Okay. So this individual, you can tell with your perception check from just looking that they are female and a dwarf. You, other than taking note of that they have been in this bar pretty much all day and all night tonight. It's in the evening at this point. I would say, like 6-7 p.m. in the evening. And other than the fact that they have been here and for the last maybe 30 days, you have noticed them sporadically in this tavern. So they've been here a couple of times before, but it's not like they're here every single night. But you have noticed their presence in this bar before.
Okay, and you said that they had a hood on.
They do have a
like
hood up,
black-
but your perception check was good enough to tell that they are female and a dwarf.
Okay, like what was was the attire pretty like standard for like a dwarf or like typical cold gear? It wasn't like anything nefarious looking.
No, it's not anything nefarious looking, and in cold weather gear, is all pretty standard looking. When you're out in the elements with cold weather gear, it's very, very difficult to tell individuals apart.
Okay.
So a lot of their features, other than their general size, you can't really get any like read off of that.
Okay. I'll kind of whisper, like kind of lean in and sort of like try to whisper to Gigaroth before heading over there. Like, do you know who that is? Who called for us?
Gigroth, you do not.
I don't.
You do not know this person. I don't think Gigroth would be a very observant individual.
Yeah, unless it's like like I basically know everyone in the tavern because they're regulars and I'm a regular, so I think, logically I would, but this person never seen her before, so Gavrock will respond, "No, she looks," or do I know it's a she or?
Yeah, you can tell it's a she.
Oh, okay, cool. Gilgroth has not seen her before. I would walk with caution.
Well, since you're such a brave chap, I slap him his 5 gold, his half of the coin. I'm like, you did good out there, buddy, but maybe don't go off the rails next time. I'll let you take the lead over there.
Oh, Gigroth is sorry. Gigroth got too confident. But I will take first steps to person.
Thanks, champ.
And he will kind of bend down and whisper to you, "Stay behind me," and he'll like pat you on the head in a very condescending way, like coward.
Is there a not condescending way to do that?
If he scratched you
Gigroth.
underneath the neck, like underneath the chin, that's like probably less condescending.
You're like a cat. You're like
It's
like
Gigroth.
scratching underneath his chin.
He lifts his chin up. Well, Akuma,
Nah, Gigroth is gonna pat you on the head.
it looks like we might have had at least a little bit of favor thrown our way. Shall we go perceive this lead?
It's not going to take us away from the AI job.
Well, the thing is that they really didn't give me too much direction other than to try to find potential business expansions. So one of the ways I would think to find that out is see what current businesses are going on in the Icewind Dale.
Yeah. Well, I see your Goliath walking that way too. So
Wait, what? He's going over there?
yeah, him and that elf, they just stood up.
Yeah, but he has a bit of an attitude problem and temper. I don't. Are we sure we want to stay in vicinity? Like once again, I cannot guarantee your safety.
I think I'll fare just fine. You wanted to talk to him.
I wanted to talk to the winner, not the person that smashes heads. But very well. Alas, we shall go. And then we'll get up, finish our drink, and head our way over to the booth as well.
Okay. Do you want any interaction between the four of you before you sit down? As you kind of as all four of you kind of make your way, typically meet in the middle, kind of like halfway between where this individual is sitting.
Of course.
As I'm
Gigroth
like,
is gonna point. It's Antler Man.
Yes, I'm Antler Man. I should have taken a minor illusion before walking in here.
Gigroth is just gonna tease you about it and until you become friends.
You ran away from people teasing you about it, and now all of a sudden you've got this barbarian who's ripping on you for your antlers already.
And I'm just gonna like snap my fingers and use minor illusion to like make it look like my antlers disappeared and I'm just wearing a hood over my head.
Okay.
Gigroth's like, huh?
And then I'm gonna use minor illusion again and make his nose disappear.
Mine?
Mm-hmm. Yours.
Gigroth is like, what the fuck is going on?
So as you do that, you can still feel your nose there, but it just looks like it's gone.
He's just weird.
Okay.
Just constantly touching his nose until he sits down.
Upon seeing you do the nose thing to Gigaroth, I just kind of look over at Akuma and I'm like, you're all right.
Don't know about you.
That's
Alright.
fair.
Zymont will take this moment to kind of wiggle in between the chairs and pass the party to continue walking towards the hooded figure.
Okay. As you get closer, the hooded figure stands up and kind of like gestures you to sit down in the booth, the four of you. Says,
I'll be
please,
the last one to sit down.
please. I have much to talk about. And so all four of you going to sit down?
Yes.
And this individual pulls up a chair, sits down into it. She lowers her hood, and you can see, and I don't want to say elderly, but definitely a dwarf that is aged. And you can see a large scar going from her right eye all the way down across her nose to her left cheek. And she says, I have been eyeing all four of you tonight. I think that you four are the perfect ones for my need.
Forgive me, my lady, but you have us at a slight disadvantage. You might know who we are, apparently, but we do not know who are you. You care to elaborate and indulge us, please?
Absolutely. My name is Hlyn Trollbane. I am, or at least I was, a bounty hunter. You're familiar with what I do then?
So yeah, you go and collect either kill or collect targets and bring them back for gold, right?
Mm-hmm. She says, I don't know how long you have been in 10 towns, but for the last few days, and Cyrus and Gigroth, you would know this. For the past month, there have been 3 murders. There was a halfling trapper in East Haven, a shipbuilder about 10 days ago in Targos, and just 3 days ago, a dwarf glassblower in Bryn Shander here. I've kind of taken upon myself to investigate these murders, as the town speakers and the local law enforcement is not doing such.
Sorry, real quick. What was the middle one? It was East Haven, Bryn Shander, and what was the second one?
Targos. Targos.
Okay, thank you.
And these are 3 of the places in 10 towns. You're currently in Bryn Shander.
Yep. Okay.
Cyrus and Gigroth, make me a history check.
Wow.
Gigroth's too stupid.
17.
Okay.
See, Gigroth, a 11.
All
I
right.
feel like Cyrus should not know this, but okay.
Okay. So Hlyn kind of leans in closer and says, you're familiar with the sacrifices, right? And Cyrus and Gigroth, you would be. And Hlyn looks to you, Akuma, and Zymot and says, you, having just arrived, or at least I believe just arrived, would not know this. Every month, each town sacrifices something in order to appease Auril the Frostmaiden, kind of as a gesture in order to keep the winter less harsh. And provided that those sacrifices are made, the winter is much milder than Auril might have it. Certain towns sacrifice food. For the night, certain towns will sacrifice warmth for the night. And even in East Haven, Targos, and Bryn Shander's case, will sacrifice an individual. I believe that is a connection to these murders.
So, I understand. It does seem viable, but if it is something that the town and the people of Ten Towns knows in general, why hide it as a murder instead of simply announcing it as a sacrifice?
Oh, these are no sacrifice. Those sacrifices still happen. In each town that has a sacrifice for an individual, they hold a lottery every month to see whose name gets drawn out of the hat as the unfortunate individual who would get sacrificed. I think that there is a reason that the towns are not investigating these murders, and that is because those individuals that are being murdered have somehow found a way to keep their names out of the lottery. I have been tracking an individual for about a month now since these murders have happened. An individual named Sefik Cultro. He wields daggers that look to be made of ice. The same weapon that these individuals have been killed by. Now, in my state, my old age, I'm afraid that I am not nimble and adept enough to investigate this further myself. That's where you come in.
Forgive me. Before you proceed, you said that this Sithik carries ice daggers?
Yes.
And the murders, all three murders were connected to ice dagger weapons? What exactly is the mark that connects them?
Exactly that. These murders, all the victims had been found with an ice dagger through their heart. These weapons are not natural. None of the shops in 10 towns carry such weapons to sell. The only individual, or the only connection that I can find is these daggers, and the only individual that I have seen around that wields such things is this Sefik Cultro.
Can I tell if she's lying? Because that seems a little too obvious, right? The only guy in town carrying ice daggers, and all three victims have ice daggers in them. That's yeah. Can I do an insight check?
Make me an insight check. Yeah.
Okay. Sec. Where is insight +0? All right. 12.
Yeah, you believe that she is telling the truth. And she explains even further, and she says, "I realize that is very convenient. However, this individual is not the most easily found. Sefik Culture works for a small traveling merchant company called Torgs, which is owned and operated by a dwarf named Torga Icevein. In other words, Sefik gets around from city to city here in 10 towns. He's charming. He makes friends easily. He also happens to be Torga's bodyguard, so I'm guessing he's quite good with the blade. His victims have only come from those 3 towns that sacrifice people to the Frostmaiden on nights of the new moon. Like I said, I believe those victims have found a way to keep their names out of the drawings. Sefik found out that they were cheating. Maybe Sefik is doing the Frostmaiden's work.
And has it been proven that these said sacrifices, not only the Zimbers, but all of them, have proven to be beneficial and have kept the Ice Maiden at bay?
Well, this winter has been lasting for over a year now. Blizzards still happen. There's still very little daylight. I can't speak one way or another if it is beneficial, but there hasn't been any further detriment. So take that as you will.
And has no one attempted to negotiate or contact or even, dare I say, combat these Ice Maiden?
You're not from around here, are you?
Does my tan skin give it away?
Oriel tends to keep to themselves. They are very they don't make themselves known other than this spell casting Eternal Winter. And being the god that they are, I don't imagine that there are individuals who would want to interfere and kind of oppose the god's ways.
One more question, if you do not mind. You mentioned that you are a bounty hunter, so you essentially work as a seller sword and find precious people.
Yes.
What investment do you have in essentially getting to the bottom of said murders?
Well, I've been following Torgs for some time. I don't know. Maybe out of boredom. Maybe out of a sense of moral decency. I've taken it upon myself to investigate these murders. I don't know. The fact that none of the council of speakers can be bothered to investigate these, I've just decided to take it upon myself to investigate. Unfortunately, I have come to my ends in this, as I don't believe that Sefik and I would be of a good match.
Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
While she's saying that, I'd like to take a look at Akuma and see if I can get some kind. I kind of give you like that raised eyebrow look. Like, what do you think, non-verbally?
And I'll use message my cantrip to just like talk to Zymat and tell him, yeah, well, it's going to get us around some of the city or the villages here, and we'll see business, so might as well take it up.
You see Zymat swat at the air, kind of like there's a fly there, like, because shocked that all of a sudden I hear your voice in my head. Shrug it off and try to play it off like something was on my nose, fix my mustache, be like, all right. Because obviously I'll recognize his voice. Okay, go ahead, Cyrus. My bad.
Oh, I was just gonna ask, like, when she said, me and Sefik would not be a good match. What did you mean by that?
She explains again. She's like, my old age, my knees are not nearly as strong as they used to be. My way with a sword is slipping in my age, and I need other individuals who would be a better match for Sefik.
An experienced bounty hunter. Do you not know any others?
Well, adventurers such as yourself, or individuals such as yourself, are very, very hard to come by in Icewind Dale. Everyone pretty much keeps to themselves, wanting to stay warm, wanting to stay fed. It just so happened tonight that all of you had happened to be in this place, same place at the same time. And from my research and my traveling from town to town, you four seem to be the best fit. I tell you what, let's get down to brass tacks here.
Okay.
I will pay you.
Stop her before that.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna ask. So where are the daggers now?
Who
The
knows?
daggers that were used for
They're made
people?
of ice. They melt. Um, I don't
I would
know.
have thought that it's so that the daggers would have stayed frozen.
She says, I tried to handle. I was able to find one. I was able to track one of his victims before the authorities did. As I tried to handle the dagger, as soon as I pulled it from the heart of his victim in East Haven, it shattered in my hand.
Okay. You
As-
looked at it
Seems
with
like
this
he was
like,
trying to.
and look.
As I
It almost
as I
seems like he
said,
was trying to like almost make it obvious that it was him in a sense. Like he was trying to make it apparent that it was him who was committing these murders. Weirdly enough.
well, he does as he travels with Torgs. He doesn't make himself known too often. He likes to stay in, while he is the bodyguard for Torga Icevein. He tries to stay in the shadows during non-business hours.
I see.
I will pay each of you. I will pay you 25 gold each to apprehend Sefik Caltro, ascertain his guilt, and deal with him however you see fit, preferably without involving the local authorities. When that
Now, when
job
you
is
say-
done, return to me and collect your money.
Now, when you say deal with him, are you suggesting we deal with him and I kind of do that kind of gesture, or
Sure.
or just detain him? Like, what is your suggestion here?
He says, or she says, that's completely up to you. I'm a bounty hunter. I have a sort of moral ambiguity when it comes to that. But go ahead.
I have one question before we take you up on this. What kind of influence with these council members does Torga have?
That I don't know. Perhaps that will be what I investigate next.
Forgive me, but 25 gold is not nearly suffice for even a standard job, let alone one that may cause us to circumvent the law. And two, you're asking us to potentially send them to the long sleep without confirming anything minor than a suspicion. And tertiary, we don't even know where to begin. Do we even know who other people on said list that might be cheating the system are?
Maybe I'm hoping that that's information you can get from Sefik. If my hunch is true, and if you ascertain him, and and my hunch ends up false, well, that's also good information to have.
So
I
are you
can.
telling us that you're only interested in this out of being a good Samaritan? Are you sure that you're not working for someone or reporting to someone in particular?
I am not.
Okay.
May I make an insight check on that?
Absolutely.
Uh, 10.
10. You believe that she is telling the truth.
I will tell you what, I'm a reasonable man, and maybe some of your interests overlap with ours. So, 100 gold apiece, and we shall apprehend this Sethic and bring him to you for your own interrogation. Should there be any additional means after that, we can negotiate a price for that.
Make me a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Where you at? All right. You sure? 11.
Okay. I unfortunately don't have the means for. I don't have the means for 100 gold each. But I have some sway with the local merchants. Perhaps I can arrange some discounts with them. I can bump it up to 30 gold each instead of 25. And upon bringing Sefik back to me, we can discuss those arrangements with fellow merchants.
And I'll use message to Zymat just to tell him, hey, I think this is a good deal. We're killing 2 birds, 1 stone. We're going to talk to some local merchants, figure out what's going on with their supply trains, make some extra gold on the side. We should do this.
Very well. That seems reasonable. I can vouch for myself and my compatriot here.
How about you, big guy? She says, looking up at you, Gigroth.
You mean she wasn't looking at Cyrus? He's a little hurt by that.
Gigroth. He looks at her with this just a little bit of suspicion, and he says, "Little woman better be telling truth. If I find otherwise, head will go."
She looks up at you. She seems unfazed by this at all, and she says, "My dear, 40 years in the bounty hunting business, your threats are going to have to be better than that. But it's that type of spunk that made me choose you."
And then he looks at the woman and is like, "Gigroth."
All right. Cyrus?
I think I'm interested. Although I'm a little curious about the extent of the research that you said you made into us to decide whether or not we were fits. Exactly how far did you go with this research?
Well, yourself. You have a knack for talking with individuals, I've noticed, in this tavern. Gigroth's skills are very apparent. You two, and she points at Akuma and Zymat and says, "I've not seen you around here before, but just the way you carry yourselves and that glaive on your back, human, I think I've picked the right individuals." And she says, Torgs and Torga, Icevein, they travel city to city to sell their wares. Tomorrow night, they are due in Targos. You will find them parked outside the south entrance, the south gate at Targos.
All right.
As you mentioned, we are new here. Is there anything we should know about as far as traveling from one town to the other? Any type of permits or paperwork or anything like that? Or is there freely travel amongst the 10 towns?
Well, there is free travel amongst the 10 towns. However, it can be treacherous at times. Blizzards are known to happen. Each town is some length away. In order to get to Targos, there is... Let me pull this up. It's about 2 hours on foot. Now, you can rent a dog sled, or if you have a means of travel of your own dog sled, You can cut that time in half. But on foot, it'll take you about 2 hours to get to Targos.
One final thing, since you have been traversing these lands for quite some time, do you potentially have anything that could help us deal with the harsh weather? As you just stated, I'm new here and not very accustomed to it just yet.
She opens up her backpack, or her backpack. She pulls it around, uncinches it, pulls out a pair of crampons, and she says, "I will stay right here in Bryn Shander, so I will not be needing these going out. These can be yours. You are free to use these on your travels."
All of us have crampons right now, right?
Cyrus and Akuma do not.
Okay. Well, I got a pair from AI.
Mhm.
So if you want to take those, Cyrus or Akuma, either or. Actually, yeah, I guess I would probably offer it to Akuma. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say this would be quite surprising to Cyrus.
Yeah, no, I'll offer it to Akuma.
And I will add them to my pack.
She says, if you need more, she says you can go to Black Iron Blades here in Bryn Shander. They can get you snowshoes, more crampons, whatever gear that you might want. Or, and I gotta pull up Targos to see what the what the place is known as there. This is real D&D, folks. A lot of looking stuff up. She says you can go to the Luskan Arms in Targos, and I'm sure they will be able to fit you with snowshoes and crampons should you need those.
Well, thanks for the info, since it looks like I'm going to be needing to make a stop there.
Okay. Tell them I sent you.
Will do.
Okay. All right. Akuma, we're going to take a break right now. All right. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. We are going to take a quick 10-minute break. Refill your glass, grab a snack, grab some coffee, and we will be back in roughly 10 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We'll continue the adventure shortly. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Let me get my scene changed here. We are back from break. Thanks, everyone, for sticking around. When we last left, our heroes have taken on a job from a Miss Hlyn Trollbane, a former bounty hunter who has been tracking an individual named Cephik. What's their name? Cephik Caltro, who is apparently might be murdering individuals who are keeping their names out of a lottery in which would prevent them from being sacrificed to the Frostmaiden in the towns that are choosing to make that sacrifice. All right, quest in hand. What would the group like to do? You have a lead as to where Torga and Torg's traveling merchant will be tomorrow night.
One last thing, before we finish our conversation with Hulin, I'd like to find out where we can bring Sethik should we apprehend him.
Lynn says, I will wait. She says, probably do not want to bring him into a town at all. However, I will wait for you here in Bryn Shander, outside of the, let's see here. I will be outside the North Gate in Bryn Shander.
All right, then. We will.
I will. She says, "I will be there for the next 10 days. I will stake out there. If you do not show up within that time, I will presume that the mission went awry. And if I meet you there, or if you happen to meet me there, good.
Very well. Then it is salute. As you well know as a seller sword, shall we have the standard payment of 15 gold up front for each of us?
She pulls out a little leather pouch, uncinches it, and pulls out a few kind of like orange, brownish colored gems. There are 3 of them, very small, maybe only the size of like a penny. But she kind of lays them out on the table and says, this should cover it. And they're each worth 5 gold each.
Thank you kindly. Then until we meet again at the North Gate.
And she nods and puts her hood back up and goes back to her drink. And she'll stand up and kind of let you, out of the booth and on your way as to wherever you would like to go.
And just to confirm, it was the South Gate of Torgos tomorrow morning?
Tomorrow during the day. It's very, very difficult to discern what is night, what is day. There's really only about 4 hours each day of natural, I guess what could be called sunlight in Icewind Dale. And those are typically the 4 hours in the day that... Whoa, where did Mark go?
He just went poof.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so there's only about 4 hours each day to where that's like working in daylight sort of thing. So it's really difficult to tell. Otherwise, it's pretty dim outside. Darkness is kind of all that Icetown knows for most of the day.
Okay, what time of day is it right now? So how are we gonna keep track of? Is there a method for us to keep track of time, or is it kind of like by the seam of your pants?
It is. You could keep track of time, I think, fairly well.
Okay.
Yeah, you'd still be able to, a normal 24-hour day.
Gotcha. All right, I will look over at Gigaroth and Cyrus and be like, well then, it seems like we will be traveling together for quite some time, but hopefully things will still run smoothly. Shall we meet tomorrow morning and be on our way then?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Meet you there.
Very well then. Akuma, shall we adjourn for the evening?
Yeah, let's grab a bed.
Oh yeah, by the way, I'm sorry. By the way, gentlemen, I am Zaymat Shatterskull at your service, and this is my compatriot Akuma.
Nice to meet you guys. I'm Cyrus.
And I, obviously, am Gigroth. And Gigroth will then turn to Akuma and say, I did not mean to tease you so much. I've never seen someone of your kind before. It was very interesting to me.
Likewise. Why'd you lose those wrestling matches?
So we kind of tried.
As soon as he starts to open his mouth, I'm just gonna kind of like put my arm on his shoulder and be like, "Oh, he takes on 2 people. You know how that is. Sometimes people get in like a bad funk. Just shit goes south once in a while.
Oh,
Guy can't be 100%
yes,
all the time, right?
A lot of drinking.
This is just gonna be an ongoing thing, right? Where like Gigroth like has no inner filter, doesn't know what the right thing to say at the right time is, and Cyrus is just like, no, just shut up, let me interject here. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he has no idea of normal society social cues.
I love it.
Left turn, Clyde.
Okay, so the North Look, which is the tavern that you're in, it is also an inn. There are rooms available for the night if you would like to stay here. If you would like to travel to Targos tonight and take room there, you can do that. What would you all like to do?
I would suggest in the morning, just basic knowledge on you never know what's gonna happen at night. Maybe there's a slip on an ice patch, deep snow. Sometimes you got wolves or other creatures at night hunting or for whatnot, nocturnal creatures. It's dark. There's not a lot of good light, so preferably in the morning. I say that in Grigroth's voice. I just forgot for a moment.
Sure.
And Gigroth will also say, and I can see if I can stir up other animal friends to help with the passage.
Is there any place in town where we could potentially acquire the services of a wagon, considering that we will have to bring a body back with us?
Don't know a wagon's gonna get through the snow too well.
Yeah, you guys, Cyrus and Gigroth, you would know that at the Black Iron Blades, which is the smithy and outfitter in Bryn Shander, that you can secure the services of renting like a sled if you want to pull it yourself. If you would like to rent, you could rent dogs for the day. There is, and if I can bring this up. Where is it? They're basically tauntauns. There are axe beaks. You can rent them, which basically act as like a mule in 10 towns, but they're these large 2-footed feathered birds, and the reason why they're called axe beaks is because their beak kind of expands out in a hook shape, both up and down, to where it looks like an axe. And those can be rented for about 50 gold for the day. Or excuse me, you can purchase them for 50 gold.
Did you say we can rent them or not?
Yeah. You can rent them. That will run you 5 gold for the day to rent one.
Oh, that seems like the best deal so far.
Yeah, I definitely want to rent them for sure until we know like how much traveling we're going to be doing and if it's worth getting them full time. But I would like to send one of our faces over to do it in case we get a good deal. Maybe can buy them in bulk. But I definitely want to get something because I don't want to be carrying a body over one of our shoulders.
Well, I don't think that'll be too much of an issue for Gigroth, but I think being that Gigroth is pretty friendly with most of the townspeople, I would say it's a good bet if Gigroth goes and he's like, "Hey, I'm going out with a couple of buddies for a time. Can you give me a discount? Maybe 3 gold, maybe 2 gold and like 5 silver, a discount for a couple of days, and can you throw in a 5th one, just in case we can use that one to carry the body."
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely not worried about you like throwing it over your shoulder. I'm actually about physically like having a body out. Like, don't mind us. We're just strangers carrying a body. Versus, if we have some means of carrying like equipment, we could throw like a box or 2 and then a sheet over it and be like, oh yeah, these are our supplies and whatnot. So
yeah.
All right, cool. So Gigroth and Cyrus, you guys want to take care of that then?
Yeah, sounds good.
So are you gonna do that tonight, or are you gonna do that tomorrow morning?
I mean, what time is it
We'll go
tonight,
tonight.
right now?
We'll go right now and have it procured for tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. What time did you say it was again?
I mean, it's evening, or what would be perceived as evening time, so
Okay.
like 6-7 o'clock at night. Yeah, so you can go to the Black Iron Blades. Akuma and Zyma, you're going to turn in for the night then at the North Look?
Correct.
Okay. So, all right, Cyrus Gigroth, you make your way through Bryn Shander, and let me pull this up here. The Black Iron Blades. There is a road that goes directly from the north all the way to the center of town, where the town hall is, and kind of right before you get from the north gate into the center of town, Bryn Shander is set up like a circle. The Black Iron Blades is just as you get to the center of town. And there's a sign on the front that says Black Iron Blades, Smithy and Outfitter. And there are two like very, very dark blades that cross and make the sign. And you enter, and you can see all sorts of adventuring gear kind of lining the walls behind the counter. And there is a dwarf who is behind the counter, sitting down. And as you enter, he kind of perks up and looks up and says, "Oh, customers! I'm welcome. I am Garn. I am Garn the Hammer, and I am the manufacturer here at Black Iron Blades. And my sister here," and he gestures over to a female dwarf sitting next to him, and says, "She sells the adventuring supplies. What can we do for you today?"
Nice to meet you, Garn. Actually, we came in pursuit of. We need to get, what was it? The axe beaks.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. We offer that service. Are you looking to purchase, or are you looking to rent for a time being?
We're just going to be renting for about a day or two.
Okay. Yeah, that is no problem. Tonight yet?
No, we just need it set up for the morning, thanks.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem. And he mark you down. How many do you need?
We just need like the one to carry it, right? Like we don't actually need like 4.
Were we gonna go by foot and then bring them back on it, or?
I just
'Cause
assumed
to
we
me,
needed the one to carry supplies.
well, in that case, do you want to get like 2? That way, it's a little faster. Because we're gonna have to bring back 1 body.
Sure.
Yep.
2 axe beaks. Okay. Well, 5 gold per day. That amounts to 10 gold. And you can pay that upon picking them up.
Excellent.
Great.
Okay,
Also,
Ruff is like,
I was looking
So
to also get what were they that I didn't have? Lynn
Crampons.
gave us before.
Crampons and snowshoes.
Yeah. I'm gonna need to get fitted for some crampons and snowshoes. Lynn sent me.
Oh, Miss Trollbane.
The one and only.
Oh, yes. She actually just purchased several sets of snowshoes and crampons and a couple of my blades not too long ago. Very, very nice. Very, very nice shield dwarf she is. Elza. And Elza looks up and says, "Yeah, I can get you fitted." And she takes you to an area where there's crampons and snowshoes kind of lining the wall, different sizes. And you can get fitted for those. Each of them cost 2 gold for a pair. So if you want the snowshoes, for like snowshoes is 2 gold, crampons is 2 gold. And she says, "Lynn's been very good to us. I tell you what, tell me what you need and we can come up with a package deal."
Yeah, I just need a pair of the snowshoes and crampons, one of each.
All right. I tell you what, 3 gold for the package deal. And since you're getting the axe beaks from us, I can do those at 4 gold each for the day.
That sounds like a great deal. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much.
awesome.
And she says, "You'll be picking those up tomorrow morning as well?"
Yes.
Perfect. And
And-
she kind of opens up a notebook, parchment. She starts jotting some things down in it. And as she closes it up, she looks up and she says, "Excellent. I will see you tomorrow morning then."
So you have the Do I get the snowshoes and whatnot like right now, or will that be like in the morning?
That's up to you. If you want to take them now, you can do that, or you can.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was like I had a wait thing. I'll just take them now.
Okay, sure. Yep. She'll give you those tonight, and you can pick up the axe beaks in the morning.
All right. On our way out, Gigroth, being the lovable big oaf, will say thank you for the services, and he will hand them one of the rabbits or one of the hares that he caught as a thank you for lowering the price.
Oh wow, thank you. The Garn says, "Well, geez," and kind of looks over at Elza, and they very very impressed, and they kind of like salute you on your way out.
He just gives a big old dumb grin.
Perfect. They are eating well tonight. Awesome. Okay. Anything else you all want to take care of tonight?
I'd like to go pick up like some coffee and hot cocoa, grains and stuff, so we can have it just in case.
Yeah, you can definitely do that at the North Look. Absolutely.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll pick up like I don't know, let's say 4 days worth of coffee grains and some hot cocoa.
Sure, not too expensive. You could probably like 8 silver or something like that for all that stuff.
Yep, good enough.
Okay. Next morning. All right, next morning you guys all wake up. I don't know if any of you have any morning rituals that you need to do or anything specifically in the morning to do. Are you guys meeting in the tavern, or are you going to meet at Black Iron Blades?
I would assume we would me and Cyrus would head over to Black Iron Blades to pick up the axe beaks, and then we'll meet them at the tavern right after.
Oh, cool. So you guys very early, you go get the axe beaks, and yeah, so you've got them outside hanging out with them. Akuma and Zaimat, you come down and you see these very large, they stand about 6 foot tall, hulking, muscular birds with very, very thick feathers and this beak that looks like the head of an axe. They are strapped with a saddle, and there is a tarp, as well as some like leather straps for strapping things down. And these things, very, very wide webbed feet, very large webbed feet, perfect for walking on top of snow. And yeah, the 4 of you are together and can make your way.
Can I ask the birds how they're doing, or I don't? What is their term? Like, they're birds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
They're like ostriches, basically.
Essentially, yes. They're a little bit
Okay,
smaller, a little bit stockier than an ostrich.
Don't call them
Alright,
that.
cool.
They will take great offense to it.
Yeah, I'm gonna use speak with animals. See how they're doing. Just find more.
Awesome. What does speak with animals essentially do? You can just communicate with them?
Yeah, you gain the ability to comprehend and verbally communicate with beasts for the duration of 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The knowledge and awareness of many beasts is limited to by their intelligence, but at minimum, beasts can give you information about nearby locations, monsters, including whatever they can perceive or have perceived within the past day. You might be able to persuade a beast to perform a small favor for you at the GM's discretion.
Very cool. Yeah. So their intelligence is not very high. So are you going to ask a question of the axe beaks?
No, yeah. I just, like, how you guys doing? Are you hungry? If they're hungry, give them a little piece of bread. See how they're doing mentally.
Food? Food?
And Gigroth will respond, "Food, yes, food," and like just kind of like give it to him.
And their beaks open up. This axe, it actually at the bottom curve, it kind of it opens up, so like that, and they both kind of like turn and snap at the bread. They each grab a piece of it, kind of and tear it apart, and eat it. Good. Yes. Good. Good. More.
And then I'll give them both each a loaf.
Oh man.
Well,
Oh
like,
yeah.
dude, you
They
are way too generous with these.
they go to
Sure.
town. Oh yes, very happy. Good bread. Good bread. And then
And Gigroth
Don't
will
load
be
them
like,
up on
good birds,
carbs.
good
They're gonna be
birds."
all slow.
you can see them kind of like after they both get done, their legs kind of like stomp, and they you can tell they're like getting stir crazy, like they're ready to go.
And are you ready, my fine feathered friends?
Ready, go, yes, go.
All right, off to adventure.
Okay,
I'm gonna have fun with this speak with animals thing. I'm gonna have fun with it.
all right. So the four of you make your journey to Targos. It's about a 2-hour walk on foot, and the Axebeak's coming right along with you. They're not slowing you down by any means. Fortunately, there's no treacherous weather. There's no blizzard, nothing other than like some blowing winds, some snow coming down, but nothing too serious in your travels to Targos. And as you make your way to Targos, along this path, there is a fork in the road where there is a sign that says that points to the east that says to Tourmaline, to Tourmaline, and then the other one points to the west and says to Targos. And then there's another arrow that points back the way that you came that said to Bryn Shander. And then as you reach that fork off in the distance, make me a perception check, everyone.
It's a 12 from Akuma.
Okay.
16 from Cyrus.
Gonna be a 6 for Gigroth.
4 for Zymot.
Okay, Gigroth, you are way too into like talking with these birds and kind of like to notice anything in front of you. Zymot, I don't know if it's the weather that you're not used to or what it is, or you're just like trying to keep an eye on Gigroth. You don't notice this either. But Cyrus and Akuma, up in front of you, several, I would say probably several hundred feet, you can see 4 individuals who are kind of like stacking crates, putting up some canopies right before you would enter the south gate of Targos. Targos, as you approach, also has walls around it, and those walls extend into Mer Duwaldan, which is a lake that Targos sits on, presumably where much of the fishing industry would happen. So you can see this site of crates and canopies and 4 individuals kind of setting up a traveling merchant area, or like a merchant place, kind of a farmer's market, if you will, just outside of Targos at the south gate.
I'll approach the farmer's market, the guy stacking crates, just kind of like with a greeting, like, "Good morning. What are you guys selling?"
And the two of them are very, very silent. The 2 that you approached, and they just kind of look up, look at you, and look back. And there is a let's see, what is she? What is Torga? I think Torga is a dwarf.
Yeah, if it's the owner, that's what you told us.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can see Torga, and then there is an individual who is dressed in this blue and black armor, who is also moving crates. This individual that's near Torga is not wearing any sort of cold weather gear. As a matter of fact, his sleeves are pulled up and his bare arms are showing, and it doesn't seem to be, the cold does not seem to be affecting this individual at all. And Torga, this dwarf, she says, "Oh yes, I'm Torga. This is my traveling shop. I've got all sorts of stuff that you could need. What is it? What is it you're looking for, adventurers? And
We're
you
just
can
looking-
see some of the crates that she has set up has various foods. There's like a couple of melons in one. There's a big bunch of berries. On the other side, these crates stacked up with canopies on them. With these canopies covering up, there is like some armor and some shields, some daggers. There's just all sorts of stuff. Canteens, lamps, flasks of oil. She's got all sorts of stuff at this that she's setting up shop.
Wow, what an impressive operation you guys have.
Oh yes. We like to get around. We travel between towns and pick up things here and there.
How much for one of the melons? I haven't had one of those in forever.
She says, "Oh, fine choice. Yeah, pick out one of them. It would be 1 gold for that."
1 gold.
Well, melons don't come easy up here in Icewind Dale. We have to have these imported from south of the Spine.
No kidding. Yeah, I haven't had one forever. Yeah, I'll go ahead and buy one. I'll buy a melon. Hand her over the 1 gold.
Great choice. Thank you very much. Is there anything else? Please. I understand it's early and we are setting up shop, but feel free to browse.
Oh, of course. Thank you so much.
And I need everyone to make me a perception check.
10 from Akuma.
16.
13 for Zymot.
9 for Gigroth.
Okay, so Zymot and Cyrus, you notice on the back of the crate, as you go to grab your melon, on the back of the crate, there appears to be, where the berries are, there appears to be a little animal kind of stuck and clung to the side of the crate. And as it crawls up over the side, you see a small lizard wearing a stocking cap, and it has this like tiny little fur jacket on it. Its little hands have gloves on, but its fingers are where its suction cups would be are still sticking out, and it's sneakily crawling up over the crate, and you can see it try to grab a berry. And this woman, Tori, "Not you again!" And she hustles over. She drops the crate that she's carrying. She hustles over and kind of swats at this individual, at this little animal, and it kind of lets out this little yelp and lands down in the snow, buried in the snow.
Gigroth will use speak with animal and try to see if he's okay or if it's okay, and say, "It's okay, little friend. Come on out, and I shall buy you a berry."
And so are you gonna pull this thing out of the snow? Pull this little.
Like if you want. Yeah, I'm just gonna like kind of scoop up the snow in my hand and see if he like wiggles out of the snow.
Okay. Yeah, so he kind of wiggles out of the snow, and you can see that it's like a little lizard, almost like a little horned lizard, which is very atypical for an area like this. And on the hat, on the stocking cap, which has a little snowball puff on it, is the logo for Acquisitions Incorporated on the hat. And he looks up at you and says, "Salutations."
He says, "Well, greetings, my talkative little friend.
Introduction.
Did you want a berry?
Affirmation.
I am Gigroth, strongest of the strong. I see you are hungry, little friend. Would you like a piece of bread?
Oh, starvation.
Or a berry?"
And you can see him take his hand and kind of rub his little belly.
All right, I'm gonna rip him a little piece of bread and I'm gonna give it to him, all cute like.
Oh yeah,
Dude, how many loaves of bread do you have?
he takes
I
it
am
and
Gigroth.
he says, "Satisfaction."
And Gigroth says, "Would you like to come with us, little friend? You are very interesting."
Introduction.
Affirmation.
We are
Ah,
Gigroth and friends.
Sebastian?
That's your name, Sebastian?
Affirmation. Confirmation.
Well, I am Akuma.
I'm Cyrus.
And I'm still at the other side of the party, or
Okay.
the bending thing. Actually, but while this is going on, real quick, you said is Sethic there, or is it just Torg?
No, Sethic is there kind of sticking beside where Torga is, helping her move crates, just kind of like helping set up shop.
Mm-hmm. How, while this is going on and stuff, how attentive is he? Is he kind of like really pulling security on her? Is he kind of like just standing around casually? Like, what's going on with him?
Make me a insight check.
Insight, where you at? 14.
Okay, yeah, this person is never leaving her side. The way he sets up the crates, you can see like when he sets a crate up, either one of the other two individuals, one of the other two males who are human as well, they'll kind of go and like kind of move it back, move it more into place, or Torga will kind of adjust it. And he doesn't seem to be like a merchant himself. Although he's like moving things, he doesn't really get the whole setup of this. And he is sticking beside Torga the whole time.
Is there anything, what is there an item that I can point at or draw their attention to that is essentially forcing him to turn away from Torga and ask him, like, is there some a spear or some kind of knickknack or something that could essentially approach him and inquire, like, hey, excuse me, like, how much is this or what is this good for, that might potentially draw him away from Torga?
On him, you do not see any weaponry, only the garb that they are wearing. But like I said, it's very atypical. He's not wearing any cold weather gear. His arms are bare.
No. I mean, like, you know how she's like, hey, come check out our wares, see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Is it almost like a customer trying to inquire about something? Like, hey, is this sword made out of mithril or steel?
Oh,
Type
gotcha. Yeah. You could definitely try to do that with. And you want to do that to Torga, or you want to do that to this other individual?
To Sethic.
Okay, or to who you presume is Sethic.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, so this well-built man they have an olive complexion, dark hair. It's pulled back into a ponytail, no facial or body hair. You go up to him and say, "Hey, this. Well, I'll let you do that. What would you like to inquire with him about?" There are definitely plenty of items here that you could point to.
Sure, I'll find like some kind of like something that looks like a stone or anything like that,
Mhm.
and inquire. Be like, pardon me, sir. I have a question here. This stone here, I'm not used to the cold. Are any of these potentially have hand warming properties, or maybe even a sending stone, if possible?
And he says, I'm sorry. You'll have to excuse me. I'm just the hired help here. Any of these items you'll have to ask Torga about."
Ah, okay. And there's not even anything that you might prefer or use in your own work, I should say?
My work is as a mover, as a hired help. No, unfortunately, no.
Very well.
I mean,
very well.
I could tell you about these canteens. I could tell you about this, the flask of oil. But really, anything else, I don't. It's not really my bag.
Can I move a couple of paces further away from Torga and be like, "Oh, these vials here, exactly what do they contain?" I'm not very familiar with the alchemicals.
And she says, "Oh, well, those. Unfortunately, there's no alchemical properties." And she moves closer to you, and she holds them up, and she says, "These flasks of oil are made of whale oil, are made of whale blubber. That is a major industry here in Icewind Dale. There's whalers, and can be made out of their blubber, and you can use these to heat up your lamps, your lanterns, start a fire. They're very, very useful for anyone traveling between the towns or anyone who's going to spend anything outside the town.
Okay, so just to be clear, as I was asking Sethic, she jumped in because she saw a potential sale.
Yes.
Okay, all right. Yeah, sure. I'll go ahead. What exactly are the uses of this blubber oil, if you will?
Well, it's flammable. It will burn if you have a lantern or a lamp, which if you don't, we can supply one here for you. She says the price, which if you look in Player's Handbook under Adventuring Gear, all those are in there. And the prices that she quotes are twice as much as what's in the Player's Handbook. So she is charging an definitely over market price on these things.
Forgive me, I apparently did not come prepared for such prices. Is there any way we could get a potential adventurer's discount or anything like that?
Oh, you'll have to excuse me. We travel from here and there, and these things aren't always easily acquired, so we got to make our money. Unfortunately, I can't really afford to offer a discount. You see, I've got my group that I have to pay their wages for the day, and you understand.
Yes, I can understand with potential imports, but this whale blubber is collected locally, no?
It locally in 10 towns, no. Locally in Icewind Dale, yes. And she talks about where are we at here? The glacier and the sea of moving ice to the north. So there's she explains that there's a large body of water to the north of 10 towns where the whaling actually happens.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, I'll have to check with my compatriots and see if there's a potential for acquiring the necessary coin. How long will you be here for?
She says we'll be here through midday. After that, we will venture into the town and kind of do a little bit of advertising, but we'll be set up here for pretty much the rest of the day until the evening tonight.
Okay, are you leaving town tomorrow or anything like that?
Yes, tomorrow we will be heading towards Bremen.
Very well. So I will have to catch you this evening. Fair enough. Thank you very much.
Oh yeah, no problem. And she goes back to moving things.
Yep, and then I'll keep kind of looking around and stuff, but I'll make my way back to the party.
So while this is happening, I would like to, say maybe while this conversation is happening and we're oohing and awing over Sebastian, I pull out like a dagger and I start cutting into my melon a little bit, and like I take a bite out of a piece of the melon, and I go, ugh, and I spit it out. And I'm like, what is this? And I sort of like turn and sort of shout over towards Torga.
And she says, what? I'm sorry, what's the problem?
This melon is the problem, and like I sort of tap it with my finger. I'm gonna cast Prestidigitation and make it smell like rotting fruit.
Ah, okay.
And I'm gonna sort of like present it towards her. This melon is disgusting, and I sort of present it towards her so she can smell that sort of rotting smell.
Mm-hmm. Is there so she smell. Oh gosh. Oh, I am terribly sorry. You are please discard this one and take the other melon.
If you don't mind, I would feel a little more confident if I just got my gold back instead. This is quite unpleasant and my appetite is ruined.
Well, all sales are final. I'm sorry. That is not something that I'm happy to if you would like something else of the same price, I can give you some berries. I could give you a melon, but all sales are final.
So you sell me a rotten melon, and then keep the gold.
Look, I'm just trying to make things right. And at this point, you can see Sethic kind of step up next to Torga, and his hands, which are down by his side, start to glow kind of a frosty blue color.
Does Gigroth notice?
Make me a perception check. Cyrus, you definitely notice this. And anyone else who is watching this exchange can make a perception check to see.
5.
Same.
14.
Okay, yeah, Zyma, you notice this.
Would the birds happen to notice the guy?
Birds are in
The,
kind of
the act-
in their own world, being kind of like set up shop outside of this.
what about what about Sebastian?
Sebastian does not.
I'll say that after seeing this, I'll kind of be like, well, that is unfortunate to hear. What else do you have that's available for 1 gold?
Well, she has all sorts of items available, and is there something that you're looking for? And like I said, pretty much anything in the player's handbook is available from her at twice the price of what it says in the handbook.
I'll just grab like, how much was that whale oil or whatever?
A flask of oil is, let me see here. A flask of oil is typically 1 silver, so it'd be 2 silver, so you could get 5 flasks of oil.
I feel like we might be able to use that, so I'll take the 5 flasks of oil.
Okay. Oh, please take these. I mean no harm.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
And
please
you
forgive
see
my
Sefik.
harsh...
You see Sefik kind of back off, and his hands, the glow that was on his hands subsides.
And please forgive my harsh tone. I was a little taken aback by that. It wasn't what I expected, but I appreciate your willingness to make it right.
Oh yes, I cannot. I unfortunately cannot have any misgivings about my business. I'm a very reputable vendor.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'll take my my flasks of oil, and I'll say thank you very much.
And how much is she selling berries or like rations in general? Because I know in the book it says it's like 2 pounds for like 5 silver.
Sure, yeah, it'd be 2 pounds for a gold.
2 pounds for gold. Then I will buy 10 pounds worth of
Okay, rations. Sebastian says
ration.
rations. And Torga says, "Well, if there's nothing else that I can get for you, I should be on my way helping set up here." And she kind of motions over to her help and kind of like points them in directions, and she goes back to kind of dictating where everything is going.
Once I make my way back to the party, and obviously I would have done that while this exchange was going on, I'll kind of squeeze Cyrus's arm and look at Akuma and kind of give them the old like look, the eyebrow look. Hey, we can go now.
And before we leave, I want to talk to Sebastian really quick,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll say, here is a little dried piece of fruit, like a raisin or something, or like a nut. And I tell him, there's more of this if you stick to them, watch what they're doing. Almost like our little informant.
Okay, I need a good word for this.
Deception.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, deception.
Deception.
Confirmation. And you can see him reach up, and he kind of like tightens his hat a little bit, and crawls around down your body, and goes back to hiding on a on a crate.
Cool. And so I'm gonna assume we're gonna leave into the town, correct?
No, actually, I'm good leading us back out the road. Actually, if you guys are good, it's up to you guys.
Wouldn't that look odd? We were like walking up the road, and then we stop at this farmer's market outside the wall, and it was like, oh, let's go now.
Well, I mean,
It's
we
like-
could have been heading the other way, like the other path on the fork, and we just happened to see the. It's up to you guys. I'm good going into town as well.
And the
I'd
next
say we
town
go into
over.
town. That seems the most natural.
Going
Yeah, I was
into Targos.
Yeah.
What was the
s-
fork in the road? What was the next town over?
So there's Tourmaline, or Tourmaline, which is about a 4-hour walk. Or you can kind of check out Targos for the day.
We
Uh,
should
I
probably
was-
check out Targos and try to figure out what we can about the murder.
Yeah, I was going to also suggest the reason why I bought the 10 pounds of ration was to find as many little animals, little creatures, and offer them like I give you food, you spy on these people for me, and then like every once in a while they come back, they find me, I give them food, they report to me, just to keep track of their movement.
Okay, so you want to do that, Gigroth, while the other three are go into town, or all
Well,
four?
yeah, all four of us go in, and then like occasionally, if I can spot an animal close enough that's by me that I can use the spell, and I'll be like, "Hey, come over here. I'll give you food if you do this for me." And as many little informants as I can get.
Okay, yeah, yep. You're able to spot like a there's a little squirrel. You can find a rabbit, and then obviously Sebastian, kind of
All right, perfect.
walking around and spying for you.
Do I find like any kind of birds?
No, you do not.
No bird.
None other
flying
than your
birds? All
axe
right.
beaks.
Okay, cool.
So
All right, guys, we've got little informants.
If
So
you-
while they're keeping watch over them,
all right, if
can,
you guys would like to divulge some sort of plan, come up with some plan, then we'll probably call it and get into crit chat.
So my plan initially, and it's completely just me spitballing, is doesn't look like we're gonna get to separate them. So we can either devise a way to pull Torga away from everyone else at some point, and then obviously Seth will follow, or we can ambush them on the road tomorrow. That way we don't have to deal with anything within the town. We're dealing with them on the road. And then there's not going to be any witnesses. We don't have to sneak out of one town with a body, etc., etc.
So I do think it is possible. I like that idea. I do think it is possible that we could separate them with like some form of distraction or some way. Like we could, like, if we say maybe like made like a loud bang, like maybe they were like packed up for the night or something. In the middle of the night, there's like a loud bang or some sound indicating threat. That might be able to draw, or even like hiring. No, maybe not hiring, but I feel like there is a possible way we could draw Sefik away from Targo.
Can one of you guys illusion yourselves to look like Targa?
I think Akuma could.
I don't think minor illusion can get that fancy. DM.
No, minor illusion would not. You would need like a disguise self sort of spell.
Actually, in fact, I have a disguise self, so thank you for that suggestion.
I also forgot I have a disguise kit as well.
Suggestion.
There's option number 2.
Here's option number 3, which I feel like is fun. I can act like I'm chasing one of the birds as they run away towards them, but in reality, as he's getting close to them, one of the birds, he just makes a sharp ass like right and just snatches up the dwarf toga and then just runs off with that little bitch. and then as they're like, "What the fuck?" and then we knock out, or we try to knock whoever out, or try to bind them and then take them with us. Then the other bird drops off Toga just wherever, runs back to us, and we just bolt.
I defer
So
to you guys on
so brute force.
um,
I do
yeah.
have the disguise self spell, so we could just have me appear to be Torga, and
If we want to try to incorporate the two, we can have Gigroth Snatcher run around a corner, and then he hides, and you take her place.
That too, because I was
And
gonna
then
ask,
and
like,
then
how
that way
would you
we
switch
and
out?
that way we essentially fight with the person that can't fight, and we're sneaky with the person that can fight.
Yeah, we could just have like Gigaroth make like an attempt to knock her unconscious or something like that. Or if we went into town and found like some sort of like chemical like chloroform type thing, we could just whoop.
Yep.
Because
if we
that's
could-
not suspicious at all.
what
Hey,
chloroform. Or...
what
Yeah,
if this
yeah,
rat
going into
got
town.
you?
I can't sleep at night. There you go. It's like I need I need something almost like a Z-Quill. Chloroform.
Like, well, we could have Kuma disguise self to buy the chloroform as well. Like, it's not like it's like we can keep keep it disconnected from us.
Yeah, just Kuma, use all your spell slots. It'll be fine. This is fine.
What else are they there for? Let's
I'm
not
just
cast any
talking.
spells. That would be bad.
Talking shit. Yeah, I mean, I guess if we really feel the need to use chloroform, I could use another one to get some chloroform.
What's your deception, Akuma?
+3.
You think that's gonna be good enough to? You think that's gonna be good enough to shut down or to convince Sethic?
I mean, I think it just depends on if Sethic has to make rolls, because I got some good portent rolls just sitting in here. But
So which one do you want to do? Do you want to put the two together? What's your idea? Because you're gonna have to be the linchpin to this whole thing. So what are you feeling?
I don't know if we have enough, like a large enough sample size for me to be Torga. And the other issue is like we've already seen that Sethic is glued to Torga. So like, how do we even get them separated for Gigroth to kidnap Torga? For me then to.
Well, I'm thinking like I'd literally turn the corner and swap out. Like turn the corner, he keeps running past the corner, and then like you come out running into him, be like, I slipped away, hurry, let's go, or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's definitely not like an hour span. This happens almost like in Ocean's 11 style, where he drives into one car, and then another car comes out of the other side or whatever. You know what I mean? That's what I'm envisioning. But if not, let's see. Gulgut, Nick, remind me how did Gulgut work? It didn't put someone. It wasn't Welver's brew, right? It didn't put them out. They were just explosive diarrhea.
Yeah, Gulgut just basically gives someone explosive diarrhea.
Okay, so that's not gonna work out as a distraction. Unless
I mean, it's if we can find a way to implement it in like his flask, or not his flask.
Yeah.
His
so they gotta eat tonight at some point, right? So Gigroff can flirt with the waitress for 5 minutes, and then Akuma can burn a spell slot to turn into the waitress, bring them their drinks, and we have Gulgut and Sethic's drink. I mean, he can't protect Torgo while he's, pissing out both ends. And then we snatch him then?
I like this one.
I think this is a little better, yeah.
What's your sleight of hand, out of curiosity? Well, never mind. If it's an illusion, we won't need sleight of hand. So, yeah, you could just... Okay. Yeah, how do we feel about that? We want to do that?
Sounds good. But what about the other two guys?
They're the helpers. We're not worried about them. That's why we're trying to like separate them. The only ones we know are for sure going to be together is Torga and Sethic. Like if Sethic goes to the bathroom, I don't think that the dude that the muscle's going to get up and follow him.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's way too early for us to start making a huge ruckus. So the more low profile we can do this, I think the more beneficial it is. Instead of burning like, all right, well, there's 9 towns we can go to now.
We might be on different pages then.
Do tell. Whoa.
No, I was just kidding. Just because I was like, yeah, okay, let's just burn this bridge. Like, what? It's like with the towns.
Okay, so are we good with this plan then? We'll follow them in the town tonight. Figure out where they're gonna go have dinner at. Gigroth distracts the waitress. Akuma becomes the waitress for 10 minutes to feed Sethic his drink of ghoul gut, and then we wait for him to go to the bathroom or go to his room, and then we snatch him. Yes, no, maybe so?
So instead of having Gigroth distract the waitress, why don't we have Cyrus distract the waitress and have like Gigroth hanging outside like the bathroom or something, like ready to grab Sethic
Mm-hmm.
when he separates himself.
Mm-hmm.
Because like Gigroth will be able to make those strength checks.
Mm-hmm.
And Cyrus is a smooth talker.
Works for me.
I like this plan.
All right, cool. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we're missing. Okay, if contingency plan, if Torga goes with Sethic for whatever reason, what's our amendment to that? What's our audible to handle Torga coming with us or coming with him?
I think you need to follow at that point, and you need to subdue Torga, and then Gigroth will still take care of. So it's just 1 for 1 at that point.
Yeah, I could hit her with the blackjack or something. Hit her with the hilt in the back of the head, knock her out.
Yeah, and then as for
Club that
the other
bitch.
guy, I can probably like with a chloroform or kind of like choke him out until he loses oxygen.
Well, just be careful because he's a caster. So you might be choking him out, and then he'll freeze your hand.
Cold resistant.
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Sweet. All right, there's our plan.
Plan in tow.
Alright.
We will see how this plan pans out next Monday night at 7 p.m. That is the session for tonight. But don't go anywhere. We're going to be back in about 5 minutes to kind of talk things through. If anyone in chat has any questions, you want to interact with the group at all, stick around. That's what's going to happen here coming up in 5 minutes. Thanks, everyone. We will be right back. All right, welcome back, everyone. Good to have everyone stick around. Thank you all very, very, very much for being here. All right. What's up, guys? Dude, awesome session. Thank you all, and thank you to the chat for sticking around and watching us. Appreciate it. This is our crit chat time. If anyone has any questions, if anyone has any sort of questions, comments for the group, suggestions, that's what this time is used for. I know there was no combat tonight, guys, but I still felt that it was a pretty awesome session. I was very happy with how things turned out. How about you guys?
Yeah, I
Very
had a lot
much
of
so.
fun.
Yeah, I'm excited to already have some mysteries to handle off because we got a kind of a plot lead there, but at the same time I'm super suspicious of it because it's not really official. So it's one of those things like the first person to come talk to us may not be on the up and up, so it kind of leads us down a weird path if we're not careful.
Yeah, and I don't want to like give away any spoilers or anything, but the way Icewind Dale is there's a ton of interconnecting plot points and different things going on in 10 towns, and this is like you've got already a very, very good lead into it.
If you guys do want to talk spoilers, you can join the Discord where we have a channel specifically designed to talk to just Enraush to talk about spoilers, and that way the players, us, don't find out.
Yeah, so if you guys want to join the Discord, you can see the link down below in the channel, or let me type !Discord here in the chat. There's a link to it as well. You can also follow us on Twitter at BadRollsG. And if you missed some of the sessions or you missed future sessions, you can find us on YouTube as well. That link is down in the description. ! YouTube will also have that. So we're very excited to be getting this thing going and excited to have everyone here with us. What was your guys' favorite part about tonight?
Obviously, excited to have Sebastian back
Yeah.
for round two. For those who don't know, Sebastian was a lizard we picked up in the Ack Inc. campaign. I guess that's something else I want to give a shout out to Nick for, is just all of the Easter eggs in the way he worked in our first campaign. I know, I think Latwig might have sat in for a few sessions, but not all of them. So, kudos to Nick for working in a bunch of Easter eggs for the backstory and just subtle references to the hours and months we played in the Ack Inc. campaign.
Yeah, I was just grinning and like giggling every time I know the ghoul gut the ghoul gut pit, and it's just got the spider up there is like free drinks, and I'm just like, oh my.
So, were you guys afraid that Sebastian was just like dead with the rest in peace picture?
A little bit, yeah. It's like, why would you kill the mascot? He was easily the best character in the last campaign.
I mean, clearly the best character,
Yeah.
hands down. And
I can't take credit for that character. That character was thought up of by Chris Perkins, who was the dungeon master for the Acquisitions Incorporated crew. That was from a PAX play when they were running Tomb of Annihilation. And the character's just so awesome. I had to steal it for this campaign because it's just way too good. So I can't take credit for that one at all. That character's great.
but I absolutely love how you managed to hook him up with some cold weather gear.
Oh yeah, like he's in the north. He's got to have a little hat, maybe a little like squirrel cold weather gear on him. He's a little lizard. They're not used to the cold.
I loved it. The little hat with the little ball on it. I loved it.
Yeah.
My own little Santa in my hand.
The thing that's going to be interesting for me is I want to see now, because it's not even so it's weird because you get this vibe that the Frostmaiden is a part of living in 10 towns, right? It's just kind of, but there's not really a cohesion thing. It's like they just pay tribute, so I guess the weather isn't horrible, even though it kind of already is. So it's gonna be interesting, almost like there's two aspects going on in this adventure. We'll see if it pans out that way, but there's the normal dynamics of 10 towns, I'm assuming, from the little snippet you gave us, and then also the whole whatever play the Icewind is going to play into this as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different moving parts there, because 10 towns typically, like in the past, while Icewind Dale is normally very, very cold, and but the summers are still mild. Like it still has traditional seasons. It's not always just in perpetual winter. But the Frostmaiden has kind of cast her spell for whatever her reasons might be, or their reasons. I'm not sure if Auril has a gender at all. I'll have to look into that. But Auril, for whatever reason, has decided to put Icewind Dale in perpetual winter. And that is that's definitely affected the fishing industry, because lakes are freezing over, travel between the towns. Like it has just caused all sorts of problems within 10 towns.
The other funny, just slightly funny thing with our composition is here we are dealing with a potential. What are they? They're a god, a demigod, right?
I guess closer to a demigod. They're not full on god status, but they are extremely powerful. So much so that some individuals worship Auril as a god.
Okay. And then we don't have a cleric in the party this time to do some cross interrogating or whatnot.
Yeah. Hierophant says, I missed the start of the session. Did you four build your characters together, or did you all show up with your characters? If someone wants to answer that, go right ahead.
Well, it seems like for the most part we kind of built them somewhat separately, but we definitely had like a lot of coordination and a lot of back and forth, like with spitballing ideas and brainstorming, just like thinking what we want out of them, or like kind of giving like advice and everything. But for the most, so I guess yes and no.
Yeah, I think we towards the end of our Acquisitions Incorporated, we were excited because that was our first campaign, so we already started brainstorming. And I don't know about you guys, but I have the problem of making a million characters, so I've purposefully tried not to put them in the actual character sheets because it's just addictive. And so we kind of started to spitball like, hey, what are some of the classes we want to be interested in and whatnot. And I had played a cleric like I had mentioned earlier, and it turned out where we had lost our tank, so I went ahead and started to take up the slack there. And so I just went ahead and told the party like, hey, I'm good tanking, like being a dedicated tank in the next party. And I started to kind of put that together. The Echo Knight appealed to me. I thought it was a super cool subclass, so I wanted to try that out, and I kind of locked that in. And then I feel like the rest of the party started to say, well, I wouldn't mind trying a bard. Hey, I wouldn't mind. I really like playing a caster. And so we generalized the classes that we were going to play. But it wasn't until kind of literally our session 0 when we just wanted to get on the same sheet of music for today where we found out everyone's the actual character and the meat behind it versus just the, hey, I'm going to be mage type thing.
Yeah, and I kind of worked separately with all of you to kind of like work in your backstory. For a first campaign, there wasn't a whole lot of that, but this campaign and how the characters all interact with each other, I definitely wanted to have that be a major part of the campaign. How your backstories all connect, how all of you are connected with the Icewind Dale world, and as the story unfolds, we'll definitely see more of that.
And speaking on that, it's actually pretty interesting if you haven't seen the background for my character Gigroth. Before coming into this, the last session that we had, which was Acquisition Incorporated, was my first session, and I didn't even come in halfway. How far along were y'all in Acquisitions Incorporated?
It was about halfway when you joined us.
Oh, okay. Well, I had to create a character somewhat on the spot, and I was really interested in the Kinku class because of their ability to create things. And me personally, I just love the cold. So when I was looking up the different gods, since you can have you can worship something like that, I actually chose Ariel, the goddess of winter. So I was like, all right, great. And then that goes with my Kinku because I wanted him to be a druid, and I did Arctic Circle. And then now I've actually incorporated my first character with this character.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool building that connection between the first campaign and this campaign. I thought that was a really, really cool thing.
I actually got a question for Cyrus. Since you're a bard, jack of all trades, you can go in many different directions with your bard. Seeing the composition of our party, I understand that could probably change as things progress and whatnot, but what's the direction you're planning on taking Cyrus in for this one?
So, if you didn't notice during the session, Cyrus does not have instruments, or certainly doesn't know how to play them. I was interested in the bard class, and initially I was going to take it in like the typical like lute player, traveling storyteller, musician kind of route. But I kind of had this idea then watching like clips of like Breaking Bad. Like I really like the idea of the character Saul Goodman, the sleazy lawyer, and just like in Better Call Saul, which is like the prequel series, he's like this con artist, and I really like that idea for a character. And I got a little bit of that when I was talking with Nick one day of sort of just making like this, instead of him being like just a musician, like his magic is kind of his words and like his way of like talking with people and manipulating people and pulling cons and scams. And that was sort of the direction I wanted to take with the character.
Yeah, so he still has a performance, but maybe not in the traditional sense.
Nice. I like that.
Yeah, I was super stoked about the interactions with Cyrus and Gigroth in the tavern, and the cons that Cyrus wanted to run, and Gigroth just not really totally understanding what's going on, or maybe understanding a little bit, but not not getting the hint that this is a con thing, and I'm excited to see way more of that in the future. I think that is just a really, really awesome role playing dynamic between you two.
It kind of gave me a similar
yeah.
vibe to almost like Drax. Like Igoroth kind of gives me a Drax thing where he takes things too literally or just like doesn't get things, and you got almost like Rocket, like he's trying to like talk his way through things and just like it's like what? No, it couldn't go over my head. I could catch it.
I am too
Dude,
fast.
I love the fact that you caught that because I wanted Gigroff to be Drax. Like I was going for a Drax, and you were the rocket to my Drax.
That definitely seems to be the I'm looking.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
Same.
If anyone else in chat has any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Let's see here. What else? What else is there? I know we didn't get into any combat tonight. And in D&D, like I think that's a thing that just sort of happens because not every single encounter has to be solved with combat. And I really appreciate that out of this group, especially in the Ack Inc. campaign where you guys kind of really embraced that instead of just wanting to go in, kill things, get the loot. You really kind of took to heart planning things out. I think that's going to be a major part of this. And I don't know if that's like a style that you guys like, or if you guys went into this session kind of thinking that, or if it's something that was kind of on the fly.
I know nobody here other than the group knows Stan, but Stan never rolled particularly high in initiative. And the more we can avoid initiative, the happier I am. That's just... I would much rather do the RP and the puzzle solving than throwing firebolts.
Yeah, I definitely got that when in our last campaign was. I don't know if it was because I was a rogue or just the nature of it. I always enjoyed the RP stuff way more than I did the combat. It just felt like the storytelling was really cool. I think Nick does a really good job with building the world for us, and I kind of like to just indulge in that and just sort of like either embracing it or just completely breaking it and just ignoring everything it presents for us.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably be the one oddball because I don't get me wrong, I like the RP, I like the problem solving, but I like problem solving in combat as well. I enjoy combat quite a bit. I think, granted, I'm always trying to think outside the box during combat as well when I can, and sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. But I enjoy both. I think I just enjoy D&D, plain and simple.
Well, and the Echo Knight class is going to give you so many opportunities to like the skill set that an Echo Knight has just gives you more ways of solving those problems in combat. I think that's just like a really, really unique tool set that class has. And I'm excited to see that in action as well. We got a little taste of it in our one shot that we did learning these characters, and I'm excited to see how that unfolds here.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting because I typically do a lot of research on stuff just because, like I said, it's what I like to do, and I couldn't find anything really solid other than the initial breakdown of Echo Knights. So this is gonna be exploration for both of us as far as how the class plays out.
I know just like the little glimpse we got in that session 0, Echo Knight seems like it has a lot of really interesting utility that makes combat more engaging. Just you have like a lot of like you had reactions, you had bonus actions to summon your Echo Knight. It just seems like a fun class to play so
far. We'll end on this question, and this goes for each of you. What's the one thing, like if you could pick one thing out of this campaign to get out of it for your characters, what would that be? Like if there's one thing you want to learn about your characters or one thing that you want your character to accomplish, what would that be? And we'll just go around. Goliath, Akuma, we'll start with you.
So I don't know. I'm sorry, Nick, if this is going to be a spoiler at some point. I'm excited for my character's secret. Each of our characters has a secret that we worked with Nick on before that we started the campaign. I don't know any of the other guys' secrets. I haven't shared Akuma's secret. And I don't even know necessarily what Akuma's secret is. So that's something Akuma needs to learn and find out about. And where that goes, we will see. But that's what I'm excited for.
Cool. Jedi?
I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure yet. I think I'm going to take this journey with Zymot kind of with him and figure out what it is. He's lived a pretty straightforward life for the most part, just being a sellsword, going from contract to contract, experiencing the world. And so I think this is kind of going to be just another set of experiences. We'll see if it ends up changing his character or not along the way.
Cool. Black Skull, Gigroth. What about your character?
For Gigroth, in all honesty, just I want him to get the full like adventure of the world. Like I want him to go out and see everything, and um, and just experience and grow as a character. Because I somewhat put myself into my characters, so I'm like very selective on like how they talk or certain things they can do and their decisions. So it's like it's almost kind of like a journey for me as well. As for the secret, I think I'm gonna wait on that on revealing it. Um, because another thing that I want for Gigroff to get out of this campaign is to end up with his own little army, like a small animal platoon or a small animal army.
He's playing Pokemon, dude. Gigroth's out
Yep.
collecting Pokemon.
I'm collecting
Oh my
Pokemon.
god.
Because
So go ahead. Yeah.
oh no, it just because at the very end of Acquisitions Incorporated, we end up meeting this gigantic 15-foot what was it, a crow or raven that looks like almost like a an ancient ancestor of my character, which is Crawler, a Kinku. And since it was already towards the end of the campaign, we didn't really get to utilize him. And I had like this big plan to take him back with us. I was gonna find him a girlfriend. I was gonna be his literal wingman. Um, I was gonna have him have kids. We were gonna have our own little murder of crows. We were gonna go flying around on those motherfuckers. So that's where the whole like little Pokemon, animal army is that I want for Gigroth.
Sweet.
As long as we get him the hat, I'm in full support. We just need to get him the Ash Ketchum hat.
Hell yeah.
All right, and then finally, K Goomba and Cyrus. What do you want out of your character?
To be honest, I guess I don't have a concrete answer here, but I am interested in sort of halfway learning and halfway coming up with on the fly what it is that sort of like kind of drove my character to be where he is at now
Mm-hmm.
and why he is the way that he is. I kind of want to develop the character sort of organically with the world and the campaign and sort of piece together a little more.
Even
his
more
personality.
so than your secret.
Yeah, even more so than my secret, just sort of like maybe stronger motivations for like why he's a con artist thing, like why
Sure.
he does that sort of thing. That's sort of what I want to find out / develop, I guess.
Cool. All right. Thanks, guys. We're gonna end it there. Thanks everyone in chat who chatted, who watching us, who were lurking. Thank you all so much for checking out this session. We will be back next Monday night at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, and see where this story goes. As always, you can find us on Twitter at BadRollsG. You can jump in the Discord. You can follow us here on Twitch. All that good stuff, and we'll get a VOD up on YouTube as soon as we can. So if you missed anything, you can check out the session there. And anyone else have anything? Cool.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, thanks a lot, everyone. We will see you next Monday. Have an excellent night.
Not
You
everyone.
guys too.